world is softening at the edges. The sharp lines of day are blurring into gentle smudges of charcoal and indigo. The clamor of living, the distant rumble of engines, the bright chatter of phones, the persistent ping of notifications has faded to a mere memory, like the afterimage of a bright light when you close your eyes. What remains is a profound and welcoming silence, broken only by the softest, most natural of sounds, the sigh of your own breath, the faint rustle of night air through distant leaves, and, if you listen very carefully, the gentle, watery whisper of an invitation. Come. There is a place waiting for you. Not a place you must strive to reach or fight to find, but one you simply allow yourself to drift toward. You are tired. Your mind, that diligent worker, has earned its rest. Your body, that faithful vessel, seeks the solace of stillness. There is no need to pack a bag, to check a map, to set an alarm. All you need to do is let go. Let go of the weight you carried today. Let go of the list for tomorrow. Let it all slip from your shoulders like a heavy cloak you no longer need to wear. Feel yourself becoming lighter, softer, ready to be. And now, as the last of the daylight stains seep from the sky, replaced by the velvet blue of twilight, you find yourself standing on the edge of a still, dark waterway. The air is cool and carries the clean mineral scent of water and the damp, earthy perfume of moss on stone. Before you, resting so perfectly on the ink-black surface, it seems to be floating on a sheet of polished obsidian. It is a narrow canal boat. It is long and slender, painted in deep, muted colors, burgundy and forest green, that are barely visible in the fading light. Its name, in elegant gold lettering on the side, reads the Somnambula, the sleepwalker. A single lantern hangs from a curved brass pole at the boat's prow, casting a warm, honey gold circle of light that trembles gently on the water's surface. The light does not push aggressively against the darkness. Instead, it coaxes it into a soft, friendly gloom. The boat is unattended, yet it feels deeply welcoming, as if it has been waiting here for you, and you alone. For a very long time, a narrow plank covered in a worn, soft carpet connects the stone bank to the deck. You step onto it, feeling the gentle, yielding wobble beneath your feet. There is no fear of falling, only the safe, rocking sensation of being cradled. You step onto the deck of the Somnambula. The wood is smooth and cool under your bare feet. The boat gives a barely perceptible sigh, a contented settling, as it accepts your weight. At the stern, you see a simple, upholstered bench piled with cushions and shades of dusk. Deep blue, soft gray, lavender. You settle into them, and they mold around you, holding you in a soft embrace. As you sit, the boat begins to move. There is no engine noise, no chugging or mechanical groan. There is no one to steer. The Somnambula simply detaches from the bank with a whisper and begins a slow, silent, inevitable drift downstream. The lantern sways gently, its light dancing a slow waltz on the water ahead. This is your journey now. There is no destination. The purpose is the drifting itself. The motion is so slow, so gradual, that it feels less like travel and more like the world is gently unfurling around you, presenting its quiet, nocturnal wonders one by one. You lean back into the cushions, a soft blanket of cool night air settling over you. You are safe. You are held. You are moving at the pace of a resting heartbeat. All you must do is breathe and watch and listen as the canal carries you into the heart of the peaceful night. The water is a perfect dark mirror, so still it seems solid, a ribbon of black silk laid through the landscape. The Somnambula's passage is the only disturbance, a silent parting that sends barely a ripple. The wake she leaves is a soft, spreading V of shimmering obsidian, folding back into itself almost immediately, healing the water behind her as if she were a phantom. A dream of a boat. You watch the banks slide by, their soft, earthen walls held back by ancient, worn stone. Between the stones, moss grows in thick plush cushions, a velvet tapestry of emerald and sage. In the lantern light, each tiny frond seems, each tiny frond seems to hold a speck of moisture that glistens like a minuscule diamond before fading into the shadow. The first bridge appears ahead, a low, hump-backed arch of gray stone. It is old, its edges rounded by centuries of weather and water. Ivy drapes over its sides a living curtain of dark leaves. As you approach, the world seems to lower its voice even further. The circle of lantern light touches the first curve of the arch, and for a moment, the stone glows warmly, revealing a crevice and fossil. Then you are underneath, swallowed by a brief, complete darkness that is cool and smells powerfully of damp stone and cool earth. The sound changes. The soft lap of water echoes gently in the enclosed space, a hollow, soothing whisper. You can hear the boat's wood creak softly, a comfortable sound like a settling house. You look up, though you see nothing but blackness, feeling the weight of the stone above you, solid and protective. And then you emerge, the lantern light once again painting the water ahead. The world opening up as if the bridge had been a gentle eyelid blinking. Beyond the bridge, the banks rise slightly. Willow trees lean over the water, their long, trailing branches brushing the surface with feather-light touches. As you pass beneath them, they create a swaying curtain of fine leaves. A few leaves detach, spinning lazily down to land on the water, becoming tiny, dark rafts sailing alongside you for a pace or two before falling behind. The air here carries the subtle green scent of the willows. A shape moves on the bank. Your eyes, now fully adjusted to the soft contrasts of lantern light and deep shadow, make out a water vole, sitting perfectly still on a flat stone. Its fur is sleek and dark, its whiskers twitching as it sniffs the air. It watches the boat pass with bright, unafraid eyes, a tiny sentinel of the night, before it turns and disappears with a quiet plop into a hole in the bank. The canal makes a gentle, slow curve. Around the bend, you see the first sign of human habitation. A cottage. It sits back from the water, behind a small, untended garden. Its whitewashed walls glow faintly in the starlight. Faintly. Windows are dark, but one downstairs window shows the soft, orange glow of embers in a hearth, just visible through a gap in the curtains. A thin silver wisp of smoke rises from the chimney, straight up in the still air, dissolving into the still air, dissolving into the still air. Higher darkness. No light comes from the upper floor. The family inside is deeply asleep. You can almost feel the collective, slow breathing from within those walls, the gentle sighs of dreams being woven in upstairs rooms. A wooden bench sits sighs by the water's edge, empty. It feels like a held breath, a pause in the world's activity. You drift past, a silent spectator to its profound rest. Ahead, the moon, a waxing crescent, clears a stand of tall, dark poplars. Its light is cool, dark poplars. Its light is cool and silver, so different from the warm gold of the lantern. It paints a shivering, narrow path on the water to your left, a parallel road of light. The lantern's glow now mixes with this moonlight, creating a beautiful duality on the surface. Honey and mercury, warmth and coolness, dancing together. You look up, freed from the haze of city lights. The sky is an endless, deep velvet expanse, dusted with countless stars. They are not the sharp, twinkling pins of winter, but softer, fuzzier points of light, like dust motes caught in the breath of the universe. You see the great, misty sweep of the Milky Way arching overhead, a river of stars mirroring a river of water you travel. Time loses its meaning. It stretches and softens, measured not in minutes, but in bridges past. In the breathing patterns of the night, bridge. Another bridge, this one a complete, watery circle of brickwork for a moment. A rusted iron ring is set into the stonework, waiting for a rope that hasn't been tied to it in decades. Beyond this bridge, the banks become wilder. Reeds grow thick and tall, their slender forms standing like silent spearmen guarding the water's edge. They are tipped with fluffy, pale seed heads that glow in the moonlight. Among them, you hear the subtle, complex language of the night. The occasional plop of a frog, the occasional plop of a frog, skittering of some small creature through the dry stalks, the soft, liquid call of a moorhen, hidden in the shadows. The air smells green and fertile, of wet mud and decaying vegetation. Not a foul smell, but a rich, earthy one. The scent of foul smell, but a rich, earthy one. Life cycling in the dark. You feel your own body settling deeper into the cushions. Your breathing has slowed to match the pace of the boat, deep and even. Your eyelids feel heavy, but it is a pleasant heaviness, the weight of peace. You are not fighting sleep. You are inviting it, allowing it to seep into you as the moonlight seeps into the water. A larger building appears on the right bank, an old mill. Its great water wheel is still locked in place. The brickwork is cloaked in its ivy. The sluice gate is closed, the water bypassing it in a smooth, silent sheet. The mill sleeps as soundly as the cottage, its productive day long done, its dreams likely of turning grain, of the warm, dusty smell of flour, a bat-flit smell of flour, erratically overhead, a darting shadow against the stars, then is gone. The canal widens slightly into a sort of basin. Here, the starry reflection in the water is perfect, undisturbed. For a moment, you feel you are adrift in the cosmos, itself floating through space, the boat a tiny craft on an infinite sea of darkness and light. You close your eyes just for a moment, breathing in the cool, clean air. Clean air. Family of Sarbank. Their white forms glowing like mounds of snow in the gloom. They are curled into themselves, long necks tucked back, utterly serene. One is slightly awake, a single dark eye observing your silent passage before it too. Slowly blinks and settles. You are moving through a landscape of pure rest. Every tree, every stone, every creature, every building is submerged in the quiet waters of slumber, and you are joining them. The gentle, relentless drift of the boat is pulling deeper into that same state. Your thoughts, which may have buzzed like faint gnats when you first boarded, have now stilled. They have settled like the sediment in this calm water, leaving your mind clear and tranquil. Another curve. Lantern light reveals a small stone lock ahead. Its gates open. The Somnambula drifts into the narrow chamber. The walls rise high on either side, covered in glistening, damp moss and ferns that grow from the mortar. In the sound of water is here. A soft, constant trickle from a leak in the upper gate, pattering musically into the dark water below. The boat comes to a gentle stop, nudging downstream gates with a soft, padded thud. There is a pause, a profound stillness in this enclosed space. You look up at the narrow ribbon of starry sky far above. You feel held, secure. Very belly of the night. After a long, peaceful moment, you feel the faintest sensation of movement. The water is rising, ever so slowly, lifting the boat with infinite gentleness. It is not a mechanical lift, but a natural one, as if the earth itself were breathing in, raising you up to meet the next level of the dreaming landscape. The rise is so smooth, so gradual. You only know it is happening by watching the mossy walls sink slowly downward past you. The trickling water plays its soft, random melody. The boat rises and rises until the tops of the lock gates are level. The deck, with a silent, graceful movement, the forward gates swing open, and the Somnambula drifts out, back onto the main canal. The world here is different. The land is more open. Gentle meadows rolling away from the banks under the thick starlight. The grass is silvered with dew. You can see the vague shapes of sleeping sheep, like rounded gray stones scattered on a hillside. The air is sweeter here, carrying the scent of damp grass and wildflowers, meadowsweet and valerian, their daytime perfume cooled and softened by the night. The village appears, sleeping more deeply than any city ever could. The line of thatched cottages hugs the bank. Their roofs are thick and rounded, like the backs of slumbering animals, not a backs of slumbering animals. Not a single light burns. A small wooden footbridge crosses the water ahead, its handrail worn smooth by generations of hands. As you pass beneath it, you see initials and hearts carved into its underside, a silent testament to long ago days, a pub sign. The sleeping hare hangs from a wrought iron bracket, absolutely motionless. You feel a deep, cellular tiredness, the good tiredness that comes not from stress, but from gentle, sustained movement. Your limbs are loose and heavy. Your head rests comfortably against the cushion. The blanket of night is tucked securely around you. The boat's drift feels like the rocking of a cradle, the steady, rhythmic motion that all humans know from their very first moments of life. The canal begins a long, straight stretch. The lantern light reaches far ahead, showing the perfect, black ribbon of water vanishing into distance. The reflected path of moonlight runs straight alongside it. You are on a double road, one of gold, one of silver, both leading to the same peaceful horizon. You watch this convergence, your gaze softening, your focus blurring. The two paths of light begin to blend in your vision, swirling gently into a soft, luminous haze. The sounds of the night are becoming part of you. The distant call of a moorhen is your call. The rustle in the reeds is your own slowing blood. The trickle from the lock is the stream of your thoughts, quieting to a mere seepage of dream images. You pass a lone, ancient oak tree, its massive form a deeper pool of darkness against the sky. An owl is silhouetted on a bare branch. It does not hoot. It simply turns its head slowly to watch the boat pass, its movement fluid and silent, and then turns to see you back. Its watchfulness is not alarming. It is guardian-like. It watches over this stretch of the dreaming world, and now it watches over you too. You are so deeply relaxed now. The gentle, unending drift has dissolved the last remnants of the day's tension. Your jaw is slack. Your shoulders have sunk. Your hands lie open and palm up in your lap, utterly receptive. You are not just on the canal. You are of the canal. You are part of its silent, endless flow through the sleeping, world. The stars above are slowly wheeling, but their motion is matched by the boat's drift, creating a beautiful, static harmony. The crescent moon has climbed higher, its light a bit brighter, casting sharper shadows from the occasional post or tree. But these shadows are friendly, simple shapes of rest. Ahead, you see the dark, irregular silhouette of a small wood crowding the bank. As you approach, the canal seems to enter a tunnel of trees. Their branches meet overhead, weaving a latticework that filters the starlight into tiny, shifting specks that dance on the deck and your blanket. The world closes in, cozy and intimate. The air grows cooler and carries the complex, sweet rot scent of the woodland floor, pine needles, damp soil, fungus, fallen leaves. Here, the water is dotted with the dark shapes of floating leaves. The boat pushes through them with a soft, rustling sound. This is the deepest part of the night's journey. You feel enclosed, protected on all sides. The gentle rustle of the boat through the leaves is a whispered lullaby. And here, in the heart of the wooded stretch, with the speckled starlight drifting over you like gentle snow, with the earthy smell filling your senses, with the water whispering its endless, soothing secret against the hull, you finally let go. You stop watching. You stop listening with intent. You simply are. You are a passenger on the Somnambula, drifting on the black, star-strewn water, through a world that is only peace, only rest. Your eyes close. They do not snap shut, but drift closed as slowly as the boat drifts, as inevitably as the moon climbs the sky. The darkness behind your eyelids is the same friendly darkness of the water under the bridges, of the velvet sky, of the deep woods. It is a darkness that cradles, not one that conceals. The boat drifts on. You are asleep, but the journey continues in your dreams. You feel, rather than see, the boat emerging from the wood back into open meadows. You sense, rather than hear, the soft hoot of the owl far behind you. You know, without knowing, that the Somnambula is carrying you on. Through the rest of the night, over calm waters, under silent bridges, past villages where every soul is dreaming, under a sky that slowly, slowly, slowly begins to soften from black to indigo to the palest gray at the farthest eastern horizon. But that is for later. For now, you are here, in the deepest, most restorative part of the night. You are riding the canal boat, and you are deeply, perfectly, and safely asleep. The water carries you, the night holds you, and all is well. The water under the wood is a different kind of quiet. It is a thick quiet, absorbed by moss and leaf litter, a silence padded by centuries of fallen growth. The Somnambula glides, her prow parting a carpet of lily pads that yield with soft, fleshy sighs, closing seamlessly behind her, as if she were a needle stitching an invisible thread through dark velvet. The lilies are closed for the night, their white blossoms tight-fisted buds resting on the water's surface like sleeping doves. Their broad, flat leaves are cool, tablets of green-gray in the dappled starlight, each holding a single perfect pearl of dew at its center. A tiny world reflecting the cosmos above. Here the air is cool and tastes of damp stone and secrets. It is the breath of the earth itself, exhaling slowly from between the roots of ancient trees. You are asleep, but your dreaming self is still here, on the cushion, feeling the gentle, persistent pull of the current. You do not need to see to know the landscape. It, in the shift of the air, in the subtlest change of scent, in the new sounds that layer upon the old. The rustle of leaves against the hull softens, replaced by the faint, crystalline music of dripping water. You have entered a section where the stone bank has given way to a raw earthen wall, seeping with moisture. Dozens of tiny springs weep from between fern-clad cracks, each trickle finding its way down to the canal in a delicate vertical stream. They catch the speckled stream light, becoming threads of liquid silver in the gloom. The sound is a random, peaceful chime. Plink, 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 plink. A natural water clock marking a time that has no urgency. It clings to, watches from a rocky alcove, its throat pulsing slowly. It does not call out. It simply observes, a jewel-eyed guardian of this damp cathedral. Then, with emotion so fluid it seems like water changing form, it slips into the water changing form. It slips into the canal without a sound, becoming part of the element it guards. The trees begin to thin overhead, the latticework of branches opens, and the sky reappears, a broader swath of deep blue velvet scattered with more stars than you could ever count. The constellations are old friends here. The steady plow, the patient hunter, the coiled dragon. They wheel with a majestic, silent slowness for a long, timeless stretch. The canal runs straight through open pastureland. The banks are low. Here, just gentle, grassy slopes. The dew-heavy grass glimmers as far as the eye can see. A phantom silver sea under the starlight. You sense more than see the sleeping forms of cattle. Great, dark mounds of warmth and stillness. Their slow, digestive breaths puffing out in occasional clouds of mist that hang for a moment in the cool air before dissolving. A new scent arrives on a barely there breeze. The honey-sweet, powdery fragrance of hay. It is the smell of summer, captured and dried, stored away in the dark belly of a barn. Sure enough, a little way back from the bank, the angular shape of a barn rises, its roof peaked against the stars. Its big doors are shut, but from within comes a soft, rustling, shifting sound. It is not a restless sound, but a contented one. The sound of countless dried grass stems settling against one another, of warmth held in a dry space, of small field mice making quiet, sleepy journeys in the loft. It is the sound of preserved sunlight sleeping until it is needed again. The Somnambula seems to slow even further here, as if paying respect to the slumbering summer. The water is so still it perfectly mirrors the barn, and a single, tall poplar tree beside it. The reflection is so exact that for a dizzying, beautiful moment, the boat seems to drift through the sky, between the starry firmament and an identical, upside-down, starry barn. The world is doubled, balanced in perfect, peaceful symmetry. Then, the canal curves gently to the left, and the barn slips away behind a screen of tall, whispering reeds. The sound changes again. The reeds are a forest of slender, hollow stems, and the night wind, barely a sigh, plays them like soft panpipes. It is a dry, whispering music, a susurrus that seems to say, hush, hush. It is the very voice of the night itself, lulling everything back to silence around this bend. A surprise awaits, though in this tranquil place. It feels not like a shock, but like a gift. On the left bank stands a lone, majestic willow tree of incredible age. Its trunk is massive, gnarled, and split, is what hangs from its lowest, sweeping branch. A swing, a simple, old-fashioned swing made from a thick, weathered rope, and a smooth worn seat of pale wood. It hangs perfectly still, an invitation frozen in time, and on that swing, bathed in a pool of moonlight that has found a clear channel through the branches, sits a child. She is perhaps 8 or 9, dressed in a white nightgown, her bare feet pale against the dark earth. She is not swinging. She is simply sitting, her hands holding the ropes, her head tilted back as she looks at the stars. She is utterly awake, yet her wakefulness is of a piece with the sleeping world, calm, observant, peaceful. As the Somnambula drifts past, she turns her head. Her face is serene, her eyes dark pools reflecting the lantern light. She smiles, a small, knowing smile, and lifts one hand in a slow, gentle wave. It is not a greeting that demands a response. It is an acknowledgement, a recognition that you too are a part of this quiet journey. She watches the boat pass, then turns her face back to the stars, a solitary, contented sentinel in the moonlit meadow. Her presence does not disrupt the peace. It deepens it, adding a layer of innocent, watchful calm. You leave her behind. The whisper of the reeds swallowing the sight, the memory of her smile lingers. A soft warmth in the cool night. The canal begins a very gradual, almost imperceptible descent. The water takes on a new sound, a soft, continuous, shushing murmur, like distant applause heard through a thick wall. Ahead, the lantern light reveals a change in the water's texture. It is no longer a glassy sheet, but is subtly textured with tiny, dimpled ripples. You are approaching a log, but not a stone chamber. This is a longer, more natural descent. A gentle weir, or a series of low, mossy steps that the water tumbles over. The sound is the sound of the water letting go, reaching its level with a soft, constant sigh. The Somnambula approaches the top of this gentle cascade. There is no gate, no mechanism. The boat simply drifts to the edge where the water spills over, and for a heart-stopping moment, it seems she will hover on the brink. Then, with infinite grace, her prow tips forward. The descent is not a drop, but a smooth, gliding slide. The boat rides the thin, spreading veil of water as it flows over the mossy stone step. It is like sliding down a silken ramp. Water cushions and guides, a liquid hand easing the boat down. The murmur rises to a soft, cheering rush in your ears, a sound of pleasant release. It lasts for perhaps 10 seconds, that smooth, buoyant descent. And then you are on the lower descent, and then you are on the lower level. The water calming instantly around you, the sound fading back to the familiar, deep silence. The boat has barely rocked. You have been lowered into a new layer of the night, as if descending into a deeper, even more peaceful dream. This new stretch of canal is narrower, more intimate. Banks are lined with crumbling, ancient brickwork, choked with ferns and heart-shaped ivy leaves. The air is cooler, damper fireflies. You had not seen them before, but here they are, dozens of them, blinking their cold green-gold lights in the ferns and in the air just above the water. Their light is intermittent, silent, magical. They are like stray thoughts from a dream. Flickering into existence, vanishing, only to reappear elsewhere. They blink in no discernible pattern. A slow, lazy Morse code spelling out words like rest and peace. One drifts close to the boat, its light glinting off the varnished wood for a second, before it winks out and floats away on an unseen draft. Under another bridge, this one so low and thick with hanging ivy it feels like passing through a green, leafy cave. The water here is ink black, smelling of root and rich, anaerobic mud for a few heartbeats. You are in absolute darkness. The only sound the magnified drip, drip from the arched ceiling. Then you emerge, and the world opens into a scene of breathtaking, serene grandeur. The canal has emptied into a wide, circular basin, a moonlit lake surrounded by whispering poplar trees. In the very center of this lake, on a small rocky island, stands a ruined stone tower. It is just a shell, perhaps 3 stories high, its roof long gone, its windows empty arches. The moon, now higher and brighter, shines directly through these arches, casting the tower's skeletal shadow long across the silvered water. It is not a sad ruin. It is a peaceful one. It has given up its duties of defense or habitation, and now serves only as a perch for birds and a monument to quiet decay. An owl is sitting in one of the high arches, a silhouette within a silhouette. It is the same owl, or perhaps its cousin. It watches the boat drift into the vast, silent basin. The Somnambula seems to know this place. She does not cross the basin directly, but begins a slow, circular drift, as if orbiting the island tower. The wake she makes is a perfect, expanding ring on the still water, a ripple that travels outward until it kisses the banks and the roots of the poplars with a sound like a soft, wet whisper. The reflection of the tower shatters into 1,000 shimmering pieces, then slowly, patiently reassembles itself as the water settles. Here, in the center of everything, the silence is profound. It is a cathedral of stillness. The fireflies are gone. The dripping has stopped. And the slow wheeling of the stars in the broken circle of sky above the ruined tower. You feel as if you have reached the still point of the turning world. The core of the night's calm. Time is not merely slow here. It has pooled, like the water, deep and motionless. You drift once, twice around the island. The owl watches your every circuit, a silent priest of this sanctuary. On the 3rd, slow pass, the boat's prow naturally aligns with a narrow channel on the far side of the Basin, almost hidden by the overhanging branches of a weeping willow. The Somnambula accepts the invitation and glides into the tunnel of leaves, leaving the moonlit lake and its ruined sentinel behind. The channel is so narrow here that the tips of the willow branches trail through your hair. A feather-light, cool caress. They smell clean and green. The channel opens after a few yards onto a broader waterway, but one of a completely different character. You have joined the older, grander canal. The banks are high, Sheer walls of perfectly cut sandstone, worn smooth by time and water. Iron rings for mooring line are set at regular intervals, dark with rust. Small stone steps lead up from the water's edge to a paved towpath above. This is a work of forgotten industry, but the industry has been asleep for 100 years. Now is simply a beautiful, solemn corridor through the night. And here you are not alone on the water. Moored along the mighty stone walls are other boats, sleeping like the Somnambula. They are old working boats. Narrow boats with once bright paint now faded to gentle pastels. Their names barely legible: Water Lily, Patient Hope, Starfall. They are tied fast, curtains drawn over their cabin windows. From one, you hear the faint, regular snore of a sleeping bargeman, a sound as much a part of the night as the creak of rope against a bollard. A fat, contented cat sleeps coiled on the roof of another, a fuzzy mound in the moonlight. These boats are not traveling. They are dreaming of travel, of past journeys through sun-dappled waterways, of loads carried and delivered. Their rest is the rest of old muscles, well used, and now at perfect ease. The Somnambula drifts down the center of this grand waterway, a respectful visitor in this silent community of slumbering vessels. You pass under a series of magnificent, arched bridges, each one a masterpiece of stonework, each casting its brief, cool shadow. At last, the stone walls begin to lower. The canal is returning to nature. The grand architecture gives way once more to grassy banks and wildflowers sleeping with their petals closed. The scent changes from cool stone to drowsy, sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine, a hidden cluster somewhere in the darkness, perfuming the air with an almost narcotic sweetness. The sky in the east is no longer pure black. It holds the faintest suggestion of a lighter tone, deep indigo that is ever so slightly less deep than the zenith. The morning is considering its approach, but it is a distant thought, hours away yet. The stars there are beginning to fade, just a few of the faintest ones winking out as if tired from their long watch. The boat drifts on. You are deep in the arms of sleep, but the journey continues. A lullaby written in water, stone, and shadow. The canal has many more miles to go, many more silent bridges to pass under, sleeping villages to glide by, before the first bird even thinks of clearing its throat for the dawn chorus. But that is all right. The Somnambula knows the way. She will carry you through all of it, safe and cradled, until sleep becomes rest and rest becomes renewal. For now, you simply drift. The jasmine's sweet breath fades behind you, replaced by a cleaner, more watery scent as the canal widens into a long, straight reach between orderly rows of sleeping poplar trees. They stand like silent sentinels, their tall, narrow forms perfectly spaced, their leaves a soft, whispering audience to your passage. The water here is glass calm again, holding the perfect inverted reflection of their columns, so that the boat seems to drift down a corridor of trees stretching infinitely both upward and downward into star-dusted depths. The symmetry is hypnotic, a geometric lullaby for the mind. The Somnambula's lantern light moves through this double colonnade. It's through this double colonnade. Warm gold making the pale trunks on the bank glow momentarily before surrendering them back to the cool moonlight. A soft, rhythmic sound begins to intrude upon the silence. Not from the bank, but from the water itself. A gentle, resonant thump, thump, thump felt through the hull more than heard. It is the heartbeat of a deep spring, somewhere in the canal bed below. A freshwater pulse pushing up from the hidden aquifers of the earth. The boat passes over it, and for a few passes over it, and for a few moments, the wooden deck thrums with that ancient, slow rhythm. A primordial lullaby, older than sleep itself. To skirt the edge of a vast, sleeping orchard, the air grows fruit sweet. You can smell apples, their ripe, round scent hanging low and heavy, and the sharper, more floral note of pears in the starlight. The trees are gnarled and spreading, branches bent with the weight of their invisible harvest. Everything here is order and patience. The straight lines of the trunks, the neat grass beneath them. A wooden ladder lies on its side under one tree, a forgotten tool taking its own rest. High in the branches of an ancient apple tree, you glimpse a woven structure, a treehouse. Its windows are dark, its rope ladder drawn up. The children who played there by day are deep in dreams of their own, perhaps of climbing even higher into clouds made of whipped cream and rivers of lemonade. The orchard dreams of sap slowing in its veins, of fruit sweetening in the cool dark. The water grows shallow and clear here, the bed visible as a pale, gravelly ribbon just of haze beneath the surface. Small, dark fish, minnows and gudgeons, sleep in the eddies near the bank, their tails wafting softly to hold them steady in the minimal current. They are gray shadows against the pale stones, part of the watery mosaic. Ahead, a new bridge, but this one is not of stone or brick. It is a wooden footbridge, painted white, its simple arch reflected perfectly in the still water. As the Somnambula glides beneath it, you see that the underside of the bridge is a gallery of swallows' nests, little cups of mud and grass stuck improbably to the wooden beams. The swallows are long gone, flown to warmer skies, but their empty nests remain, tiny architectural wonders holding only the memory of chirping fledglings in the swoop of dawn patrols. They speak of absence, but a peaceful, cyclical one. They will be waited for. Beyond the bridge, the world opens into water meadows. The banks dissolve and the canal spreads out. Its channel spreads out, its channels becoming multiple, weaving through a wetland of sedge-grass and bog myrtle. The boat instinctively finds the deepest channel, but the way is less defined here. The water is black and peat dark, smelling of fertile decay and clean, cold springs. This is an older, wilder landscape. The moonlight silvers the heads of the cotton grass, turning them into a field of softly gleaming spears. The sound is a symphony of tiny waters, trickles, gurgles, the soft glug of a bubble rising from the peaty deep in the distance. A line of blue-gray hills rests against the horizon. The first hint of topography beyond the flat, dreaming plain. They are soft and rounded, sleeping mammoths under a starry blanket. And then, a light, not your lantern, not the moon. A warm, buttery square of light from a window, low to the ground. It comes from a low, long boathouse built right over the water. its timber walls silvered with age. The window is small, with diamond panes. As you drift closer, you see inside. It is a workshop. A very old man with a kind, wrinkled face and a cap sits at a cluttered bench. He is not building boats. He is mending a net. His hands, gnarled and capable, move with a slow time. Needle in, pull through, needle out. A fat, ginger cat sleeps in a basket of coiled rope by his feet. A pot-bellied stove in the corner glows with a drowsy red warmth. He does not look up as the boat passes his window. He is in his own world of quiet, purposeful mending. A guardian of the practical, peaceful trades of the night. The sight of him is profoundly comforting. He is awake so that others may sleep more soundly, tending to the tools of the waterway with gentle, unhurried care. The light from his window spills out in a long, golden rectangle on the black water, and the Somnambula sails through this pool of warmth, a brief benediction before the dark reclaims you. The boathouse slips away, its light slips away, shrinking to a single friendly point in the vast darkness before vanishing behind a stand of alder trees. The hills seem closer now, their bulk beginning to gentle the path of the canal, which now follows the contour of the land. You enter a cutting, where the waterway has been carved through a low rise. The banks are high here, steep earthen walls, studded with the roots of trees that lean out, searching for the water. The air is cool and still, trapped in this sunken lane. The air is cool and still, trapped in this sunken lane. Drift for a long time in this earthy tunnel, the sky a narrow ribbon of indigo far above, punctuated by the occasional crossing branch that forms a fleeting, tangled bridge. At the end of the cutting, a surprise, a tunnel, a proper brick-lined tunnel, its arched entrance a dark mouth in the hillside. A sign, faded and mossy, reads, Leighton Gallery, 1/2 mile. The Somnambula does not hesitate. She enters the darkness. The lantern's light, which has been painting the world, now turns inward, illuminating the curved brickwork of the tunnel walls. They are close, dripping with condensation, each brick a hand-laid testament to forgotten labor. The sound changes utterly, a gentle lap of water is magnified, echoing softly in unclosed space. The boat's progress is a soft, wet whisper that runs ahead of you and behind you. The ghost of your own movement, drops of your own movement, drops of your own movement. Drops of water fall from the ceiling with sharp, lonely clinks into the inky water. Cold, smelling of wet clay and time. It is the longest half-mile you have ever known. A journey through the subconscious of the hill itself. There is no sky, no stars, only the intimate, dripping darkness and the circle of warm light that this travels with you, painting brief glimpses of mossy brick and rivulets of seepage. It is profoundly peaceful, here in the absolute heart of the earth. There is nothing to do but be carried. You feel hidden, secret, safer than anywhere in the world. Just as the darkness feels like it might become permanent, a pinprick of silver appears far ahead. It grows, slowly resolving into a perfect circle of moonlight. The exit. The boat drifts toward it. the circle expanding until it frames a new world. A deep, wooded valley under a sky now noticeably lighter. The indigo softening to a deep, luminous gray blue at the edges. You emerge from the tunnel with a gentle sigh, as if the hill has breathed you out into a new chapter of the night. The valley is steep-sided and thick with ancient woodland. The canal here is a dark green ribbon, its surface littered with the first fallen leaves of early autumn, spear-shaped willow leaves and yellowing ash keys. They float like tiny, silent boats on their own journeys. The air is sharply cold and clean, tasting of damp fern and mushroom. And here, the wildlife is different. A badger, its striped face distinctive in the gloom, ambles along the bank, pausing to sniff the air before trundling into the undergrowth with a rustle. A tawny owl calls from deep within the wood, its quavering hoo-hoo-hoo echoing through the trees, a question that receives no answer but the rustle of leaves. It is a sound of pure, wild night, and it seems to deepen the silence that follows it. The canal climbs now, not with locks, but through a series of gentle, winding turns that follow the valley's climb. The water moves a little faster, a soft, chuckling sound accompanying your ascent. The Somnambula seems to lean into the gentle current, her progress serene and untroubled. And then, as you round a bend where a giant, lightning-struck oak stands as a craggy monument, you see it. A house. Not a cottage or a barn, but a gracious, old house of honey-colored stone, built right at the water's edge where the canal widens into a small, private basin. The house sleeps, its many windows are dark, its chimneys cold, but at the end of arc, its chimneys cold, short, wooden jetty, a lone figure sits. It is an old woman, wrapped in a thick gray shawl. She is in a rocking chair, and she is very gently rocking. On her lap is a large, black dog, its head resting on her knee, its eyes closed. She is looking out at the water, her face a landscape of gentle lines in the moonlight as the Somnambula drifts into the basin. She turns her head. Her eyes meet yours, or the sleeping ewes. And she smiles. It is a smile of deep, deep understanding, a smile that holds no surprise, only a boundless, tranquil welcome. She nods once. Slowly, the dog opens one eye, wags its tail twice against the wood of the jetty with a soft thump-thump, and settles again. The woman returns her gaze to the middle distance, her rocking continuing its slow, timeless rhythm. She is the keeper of this quiet hour, the witness to the river of dreams that flows past her doorstep. Her presence is an anchor, a point of timeless calm in the journey. The boat drifts past the jetty, through the basin, and back into the narrow channel at the far end. You look back once, in your dream, and see her there, a gray shape in the rocking chair, growing smaller and smaller and smaller until the trees obscure her, a final human punctuation mark in the long, wordless sentence of the night. The valley narrows. The sky above the canyon of trees is now a clear, pale gray, washing out the faintest stars. The darkest part of the night is over. The world is holding its breath in that magical, liminal space between night and not yet morning. The air is utterly still, charged with a silent potential. And then, the first bird sings. It is a single, clear, questioning note from deep in the woods. A robin. It is not the full-throated dawn chorus, but a prelude, a single musician testing the acoustics of the waking world. If the night itself is listening, the somnambula drifts on, carrying you, the deepest sleeper, through this fragile, beautiful threshold. The journey is not over. There are still miles of quiet water ahead, where the world will slowly, gently, return to color and sound. But for you, the passenger of dreams, the deepest work is done. The canal has carried you through the landscapes of rest, from the still meadows to the heart of the hill, from the watchful smile of a child, the acknowledging nod of an elder. It has woven a tapestry of tranquility around your spirit. You feel the first faint warmth on your face. Not the sun. It is still well below the horizon, but the first pale diffusion of its approaching light in it. The eastern sky. It is a soft, pearly glow that has no heat, only promise. The boat begins a long, slow, final curve. Ahead, the canal seems to disappear into a soft, silver mist that hangs over the water. A blanket of cool vapor rising to meet the new day. The somnambula aims straight for this gentle fog bank. As the prow touches the mist, it swirls, parting like a curtain. The lantern's light is diffused into a golden haze. The world beyond fades into a beautiful, glowing glow. Nothingness. The last thing you hear is the soft, wet kiss of the water against the hull. And the second, answering call of the robin from far, far behind you. Then, there is only the mist, and the gentle, endless drift, and the deep, restoring peace that flows from the water, through the wood of the boat, and into the very marrow of your sleeping bones. You have ridden the canal boat to the edge of night, and it is now carrying you softly, safely, into the quiet harbor of Oria. Dawn. The mist is not a wall, but a permeable veil. The somnambula enters it, and the world becomes a soft, luminous gray. Sound is muffled into absolute silence, the final blanket laid over the senses. The lantern's light no longer projects. It now halos the boat itself in a cozy, contained globe of gold, illuminating the swirling eddies of vapor that curl over the gunwales and brush your sleeping form with cool, damp fingertips. You cannot see the banks, or the sky, or the water ahead. There is only this gentle moving bubble of light and the profound cotton wool quiet. In a cloud, or floating in the space between thoughts. This is the true marrow of the night's journey. Its innermost sanctum. The outside world. The bridges. The villages. The woods. Was its liturgy. This mist is its silent prayer. Within this sphere of quiet, your sleep deepens past dreams into pure, unconstructed rest. It is the sleep of stones, of deep water, of seeds in winter earth. Your breath slows until it matches the imperceptible drift of the boat, a synchronized rhythm of the utter peace. How long this lasts is a mystery without measure. It is a duration marked not by minutes, but by the slow, gentle dissolution of the mist itself. It begins as a brightening. The gray around you lightens from charcoal to pearl, then to a soft, glowing white. The sun is still below the horizon, but its advanced light is scattering through the billions of water droplets, bleaching the darkness from the air. Shapes begin to form in the whiteness. Faint, shadowy suggestions of reeds on a bank, the dark finger of a post. The mist is thinning, rising, pulling apart in tattered, drifting scarves. The Somnambula emerges not with a sudden shock, but with a gradual revelation, as if a slow, patient artist is painting the world back into existence around you. You find yourself on a broad, slow river, not a canal. The banks are distant, vague smudges of green and gold in the retreating mist. The water is the color of old pewter, smooth and heavy. The air is east here, to the on for. Fresh and cool, carrying the complex, damp scent of a world newly washed. The mist still clings in patches to the water's surface, lying in low, ghostly blankets that slowly shred and evaporate in the gathering light. The sky is now a vast, gentle gradient. Directly overhead, it holds the last deep blue of night, but to the east it bleeds through layers of lavender, rose quartz pink, and finally a soft, buttery yellow that stains the underside of a few high, feathered clouds. The morning star, Venus, hangs brilliant and alone in the lavender band, a diamond pinned to the fading velvet of night. The world is returning, but it is a different world. The deep, possessive silence of the night is gone. In its place is a serene, expectant hush. It is the sound of a world not yet awake, but stirring in its sleep. A delicate, almost invisible dew covers every surface. The deck of the boat, the cushions, your blanket. Each droplet a tiny, perfect lens holding a miniature, upside-down sky. You are still asleep, but the quality of your rest is changing. It is lighter, more porous, beginning to admit the soft impressions of this new, crepuscular world. The river makes a wide, lazy bend as you round Lazy Bend. The source of the growing light is revealed. The sun is not yet visible, but its location is unmistakable. A molten golden furnace just below the rim of the low, eastern hills, setting the entire horizon ablaze with silent fire. The river of silent fire. Ahead becomes a ribbon of liquid gold, a blazing path leading directly to the source of the light. The Somnambula seems to drift right into this radiant avenue, her burgundy woodwork glowing as if lit from within. And with the light comes the sound. Not noise, but sound. The dawn chorus begins in earnest. It is not a cacophony, but a layered, intricate symphony built one voice at a time. The robin's clear, melodic statement, the soft, conversational chirrup of sparrows from a riverside thicket, the distant, percussive knock of a woodpecker, the mournful, beautiful suo of a wood pigeon, a sound that seems to embody the gentle melancholy of the passing night. Their songs are reflected by the water, doubling the chorus, making the very air seem to vibrate with soft, waking life. Color seeps back into the world. The gray-green of willow leaves becomes distinct. The yellow of flag irises by the bank reveals itself. The rich reddish-brown of a cow's coat in a distant meadow emerges from the gloom. The world is being hand-painted in watercolors, wash by delicate wash. You pass a fisherman, a solitary figure sitting on a stool at the water's edge, his line cast into the golden path. He is a silhouette against the glowing water, still as a heron. He doesn't turn as the boat drifts by. He's part of the landscape, a meditation in human form, waiting not just for fish, but for the day itself. The river narrows slightly, and the current slows further. The banks become cultivated again. Neat vegetable gardens behind low fences. The orderly rows of potatoes and beans glistening with dew. A tethered goat lifts its head from grazing, watches the boat pass with rectangular, indifferent pupils, and returns to its breakfast. And then, a familiar structure, a lock. But this one is awake. The lock-keeper's cottage, with smoke rising from its chimney, stands beside the white-painted gates. The lock-keeper himself, an elderly man in braces and a flat cap, is already out, moving with a slow, methodical grace. He sees the Somnambula drifting towards his lock. He does not wave or call out. He simply nods, a slow, respectful dip of his head, as if acknowledging a fellow practitioner of an ancient, silent craft. He moves to the upstream paddles and begins to wind them up with a smooth, grating sound that is strangely comforting in the morning air. Water rushes into the lock chamber, churning and frothing. The Somnambula drifts into the open gates, entering the stone chamber. The keeper closes the gates behind her. The churning ceases, leaving the boat bobbing gently in the confined, rising water. You are lifted in a rising water. Silence. The stone walls wet and shining in the early light. Ferns dripping at the top. The keeper opens the far gates with a gentle push. He touches his cap as the boat drifts out. No words are exchanged. None are needed. It is a daily sacrament, performed with quiet reverence. You are now in the final reach. The river is becoming a canal again, a straight, tree-lined channel leading towards the first hints of a waking town. The soft gray smudge of distant rooftops and a church spire catching the first direct rays of the sun. But the sun itself remains hidden, still teasing the horizon. The light is now so bright and diffused it has erased all shadows. The world is flat, gentle, and incredibly clear. A heron, incredibly clear, stands motionless in the shallows, a statue of blue-gray patience. As the boat nears, it unfolds massive, slow wings and beats away down the river, its neck coiled back, its legs trailing, a primordial vision against the pastel sky. I am. Breathing changes, it deepens, a slow, conscious inhale of the cool morning air. Your fingers twitch on the blanket. In the cradle of the boat, you are beginning the slow, gentle ascent from the depths of sleep. The journey has cradled you, and now it is preparing to return you. The first direct sunlight strikes the world. It is a single horizontal ray that shoots across the water, turning the dew on the reeds into a million exploding diamonds. It touches the church spire and sets the church spire and sets it aflame with gold. It warms the side of your face, a tender, insistent kiss of warmth after the long, cool night. The Somnambula rounds one final, gentle bend. Ahead is a basin, a wide, circular harbor lined with old lime trees. On the far side, a quayside of weathered stone. A few other boats are moored here. A bright blue narrowboat, a small rowing dinghy. The town is behind the trees, but you can hear its waking sounds now. The distant rumble of a solitary bus, the clatter of a shop shutter being raised, a burst of cheerful laughter from somewhere unseen. Boats drift slows. Until it is barely moving. It approaches the empty quayside with the gentleness of a sigh, with a soft, almost apologetic bump. The prow nudges against the ancient timber fender hanging from the stone and comes to rest. The journey is over. The lantern at the prow, which has burned steadfastly all through the night, gives one last, warm pulse of light and whining sound. A thin wisp of smoke curling from its glass chimney. The silence returns, but it is a different silence now. It is the satisfied silence of completion, filled with the soft daytime sounds of a world beginning its diurnal dance. The water laps gently against the stone of the quay. A blackbird sings from the top of a lime tree, its song rich and fluty, a full-throated celebration of the new day. You breathe in deeply. The air is no longer the cool, mineral breath of the night canal, but is warming, carrying the scent of baking bread from a nearby shop, of petrol, of cut grass from the park beyond. The sounds of the night, the dripping, the rustling, the distant animal calls, have been replaced by the human hum of a town. Waking, you open your eyes. You are lying on your own bed, the first morning light filtering through your window. The blanket over you is your own. The gentle rocking you still feel is the memory of water, fading now like the echo of a bell. The profound peace, however, remains. It is settled in your bones, a deep liquid calm that has replaced the brittle tension of the previous evening. You feel rested in a way that is profound and holistic. Not just your mind, but your spirit feels smooth, like a stone worn by a gentle, endless river. The night's journey is imprinted upon you. The starry silence, the moonlit meadows, the watchful eyes of the creatures, the nodding acknowledgement of the solitary figures, the final, glorious unveiling of dawn. You stretch, and your body feels light, supple. The day ahead seems not like a burden, but a fresh page, a new channel to explore. You carry the canal within you now, a secret, serene pathway you can return to any man you now. A secret. Time you close your eyes and remember the gentle bump of the Somnambula against the quay, the scent of night-blooming jasmine, and the soft, guiding light of the lantern that carried you safely through the heart of the dark. The journey is complete. You have ridden the canal boat, and you have arrived, rested and renewed, at the peaceful shore of morning. The light in your room is real, golden. And solid. It taints the familiar contours of your ceiling. The edge of your ceiling. The edge of your dresser. The spine of a book on your nightstand. The world outside your window is no longer the velvety black of your departure, but a bright, clean blue. Yet, for a lingering moment, the two worlds overlap. The gentle lap of water against stone still echoes in the chambers of your inner ear, a phantom rhythm beneath the rising daytime sounds of a passing car, a barking dog, a child's distant shout. You rise, and your limbs feel loose, your thoughts clear and quiet, as if the night's journey has rinsed them of their usual static. The deep, cellular peace from the boat is not something that vanishes with consciousness. It is a sediment that has settled within you, making you feel heavier with calm, lighter with worry. As you move through your morning rituals, the splash of water on your face, the taste of toothpaste, the ritual of making tea, you carry the memory of the canal with you like a secret talisman. The steam from your cup could be the mist from the valley. The sunlight on your kitchen table is the same gold that lit the path on the river at dawn. The day unfolds with its necessary errands and conversations. You move through it, a calm vessel navigating a different kind of current. In a stressful moment, a tightness in a colleague's voice, a creeping sense of haste, you find yourself unconsciously taking a slow, deep breath. You remember the slow, inevitable drift, the fact that the boat reached its destination without striving, simply by yielding to the current. You let the urgency wash around you, and it passes. The peace holds. It is in the afternoon, during a moment of quiet, that the memory returns not as an echo, but as an invitation. You are sitting, perhaps reading, or simply looking out at a tree moving in the breeze. Your eyes grow heavy, not with tiredness, but with a pleasant, reflective weight. You let the book rest in your lap. You let your gaze soften, and you are back, not on the quayside in the morning sun, but further back. You are on the Somnambula once more, but the journey is different. You are not retracing the night's path. You are exploring a side channel, a tributary of the dream that was passed by in the deep dark. The boat is drifting down a narrower waterway, one you do not consciously remember. The banks are overhung with wild roses, their pale blossoms almost luminous in a soft, perpetual twilight that seems to exist outside of time. Their scent is faint and sweet. This is not the jasmine narcotic perfume, but a fresher, wilder fragrance. The water here is so clear. You can see the smooth, dark stones of the bed and the occasional flash of a trout's silver flank as it holds itself steady in the gentle flow. There are no bridges here, no locks, no villages, just the roses, the clear water, and the soft, sighing sound of the boat's passage. It is a loop of pure tranquility, a hidden eddy in the stream of Weir. Memory. You drift here for a timeless while, and the peace of the night deepens, becomes even more integrated. This is the gift the journey keeps on giving. Not just the memory of rest, but the ability to access its essence at will. To find the ability to access its essence at will. Quiet channel within when the outer world grows loud. The rose channel eventually rejoins the main waterway, and you find yourself in a familiar, beloved stretch. The moonlit basin with the ruined tower. It is night again here, in this remembered space. The owl is still in the ark. The water is still a perfect mirror, but now, you notice details you were too sleepy to see before. The intricate carvings around the tower's doorway, worn smooth but still hinting at ancient knots and spirals. The specific pattern of the stars reflected in the water. can almost name the constellations in the liquid sky below. This is the second journey. It happens in the flash of the stone lock keeper's nod comes to you while waiting in a line, and it brings patience. The image of the sleeping swans, curled into themselves, surfaces when you feel overextended, and it brings the reminder to draw inward, to rest. The endless patient weaving of the old man mending his net becomes a metaphor for mending your own scattered thoughts, stitch by gentle stitch, as evening approaches once more, and the sky begins its daily performance of fading from blue to indigo. The connection feels strongest. You feel a quiet affection for the coming night, not a resistance. It is no longer a blankness to be filled with worry or exhaustion, but a landscape to be traveled. A familiar and friendly terrain. You prepare for bed not with the desperation of escape, but with the gentle ritual of one preparing for a welcomed voyage. You dim the lights. The world outside your window is once more softening at the edges. The day's sharpness dissolves, and as you lie down, closing your eyes, you find you do not need to imagine the boarding plank, or the lantern, or the cushions. They are simply there, more real in feeling than in image. The gentle, rocking drift begins almost immediately, not as a fantasy, but as a somatic memory so vivid it becomes present reality. You are not imagining the Somnambula. You are remembering your place upon her, and the memory is so potent, so layered with the physical experience of profound rest, that it becomes the truth of the moment. Tonight's journey is both the same and entirely new. You recognize the first stone bridge, the sigh of the willows, the sentinel vole on his stone. But you also notice new things. The pattern of lichen on the bricks of the second bridge, like a map of a miniature country. The way the moonlight fractures differently on the water after the gentle Weir, breaking into 1,000 shivering sapphires. The specific, hollow clang of a distant buoy you never heard before. A lonely, beautiful sound that only emphasizes the silence. You are a seasoned traveler now. You know the rhythm. You know the rhythm. You know the deep wooded cutting will give way to the sweet orchard, that the old woman on the jetty will be there, rocking. You look forward to these waypoints, not with excitement, but with the deep comfort of certainty. You are safe. The route is known. The boat is faithful, and as you drift past the final sleeping cottage before the mist, you realize something. The journey never truly ends. The Somnambula is always drifting somewhere on those quiet, starlit waters. The lock keeper is always nodding. The child on the swing is always smiling up at the stars. The old woman is always smiling up, rocking. It is a world that exists in parallel, in perpetual, peaceful motion. An engine of rest that hums just below the surface of the waking world. Your sleep deepens. You pass into the mist, but this time you are aware. In a distant like way, that the mist is not just a place on the canal. It is the very substance of deep, dreamless sleep. You are being embraced by it, dissolved into it, becoming part of the quiet flow itself. And when you emerge at dawn, it It is not to the quayside of a town, but to a different landing place altogether. It is a small wooden dock leading to a cottage that is both familiar and new. It is the boathouse workshop, but it is also your place. The old mender is not there. It is empty, waiting, peaceful. The Somnambula nudges the dock. You understand. Without being told that you can disembark here if you wish, to stay in this timeless, resting place, or you can remain on the boat to drift on. But for now, you stay. You are both on the boat and in the soft bed. The journey has woven itself into the fabric of your being. You have learned its language. The lap of water is your heartbeat. The rustle of reeds is your breath. The slow wheeling of the young stars is the turning of your own calm mind. You will ride the canal boat again tonight, and every night. It is your passage, your ritual, your return to the source of peace. The story does not end, because it is not a story with a conclusion. It is a cycle, a loop of serene water, an eternal, gentle drift under a forgiving moon. The boat is always waiting. The water is always still. And you are always welcome to come aboard, to leave the weight of the world on the mossy bank, and to be carried safe and dreamless into the heart of the quiet, star-dusted night. The light in your room is real, golden and solid. It paints the familiar contours of your ceiling, the edge of your dresser, the spine of a book on your dresser, the spine of a book on your nightstand. The world outside your window is no longer the velvety black of your departure, but a bright, clean blue. Yet, for a lingering moment, the two worlds overlap. The gentle lap of water against stone still echoes in the chambers of your inner ear, a phantom rhythm beneath the rising daytime sounds of a passing car, a barking dog, a child's distant shout. You rise, and your limbs feel loose, your thoughts clear and quiet, as if the night's journey has rinsed them of their usual static. The deep, cellular peace from the boat is not something that vanishes with consciousness. It is a sediment that has settled within you, making you feel heavier with calm, lighter with worry, as you move through your morning rituals. The splash of water on your face, the taste of toothpaste, the ritual of making tea. You carry the memory of the canal with you like a secret talisman. The steam from your cup could be the mist from the valley. The sunlight on your kitchen table is the same gold that lit the path on the river at dawn. The day unfolds with its necessary errands and conversations. You move through it, a calm vessel navigating a different kind of current. In a stressful moment, a tightness in a colleague's voice, a creeping sense of haste. You find yourself unconsciously taking a slow, deep breath. You remember the slow, inevitable drift, the fact that the boat reached its destination without striving, simply by yielding to the current. You let the urgency wash around you, and it passes. The peace holds. It is in the afternoon, during a moment of quiet, that the memory returns not as an echo, but as an invitation. You are sitting, perhaps reading, or simply looking out at a tree moving in the breeze. Your eyes grow heavy, not with tiredness, but with a pleasant, reflective weight. You let the book rest in your lap. You let your gaze soften. And you are back, not on the quayside in the morning sun, but further back. You are on the Somnambula once more. But the journey is different. You are not retracing the night's path. You are exploring a side channel, a tributary of the dream that was passed by in the deep dark. The boat is drifting down a narrower waterway, one you do not consciously remember. The banks are pale blossoms, almost luminous in a soft, perpetual twilight that seems to exist outside of time. Their scent is faint and sweet. This is not the jasmine narcotic perfume, but a fresher, wilder fragrance. The water here is so clear you can see the smooth, dark stones of the bed, and the occasional flash of a trout's silver flank as it holds itself steady in the gentle flow. There are no bridges here, no locks, no villages, just the roses, the clear water, and the soft, sighing sound of the boat's passage. It is a loop of pure tranquility, a hidden eddy in the stream of memory. You drift here for a timeless while, and the peace of the night deepens, becomes even more integrated. This is the gift the journey keeps on giving. Not just the memory of rest, but the ability to access its essence at will, to find the quiet channel within when the outer world grows loud. The Rose Channel eventually rejoins the main waterway, and you find yourself in a familiar, beloved stretch, the moonlit basin with the ruined tower. It is night again here, in this remembered space. The owl is still in the arch. Water is still a perfect mirror. But now you notice details you were too sleepy to see before. The intricate carvings around the tower's doorway, worn smooth, but still hinting at ancient knots and spirals. The specific pattern of the stars reflected in the water. You can almost name the constellations in the liquid sky below. This is the second journey, the journey of integration. It happens in the quiet corners of your waking day. A flash of the stone lock keeper's nod comes to you while waiting in a line, and it brings patience. The image of the sleeping swans, curled into themselves, surfaces when you feel overextended, and it brings the reminder to draw inward, to rest. The endless, patient weaving of the old man. Mending his net becomes a metaphor for mending your own scattered thoughts, stitch by gentle stitch. As evening approaches once more, and the sky begins its daily performance of fading from blue to indigo, the connection feels strongest. You feel a quiet affection for the coming night, not a resistance. It is no longer a blankness to be filled with worry or exhaustion, but a landscape to be traveled. A familiar and friendly terrain. You prepare for bed not with the desperation of escape, but with the gentle ritual of one preparing for a welcomed voyage. You dim the lights. The world outside your window is once more softening at the edges. The day's sharpness dissolves, and as you lie down, closing your eyes, you find your eyes. You do not need to imagine the boarding plank, or the lantern, or the cushions. They are simply there, more real in feeling than in image. The gentle, rocking drift begins almost immediately. Not as a fantasy, but as a somatic memory so vivid it becomes present reality. You are not imagining the Somnambula. You are remembering your place upon her, and the memory is so potent, so layered with the physical experience of profound rest, that it becomes the truth of the moment. Tonight's journey is both the same and entirely new. You recognize the first stone bridge, the sigh of the willows, the sentinel vole on his stone. But you also notice new things. The pattern of lichen on the bricks of the second bridge, like a map of a miniature country. The way the moonlight fractures differently on the water after the gentle Weir, breaking into 1,000 shivering sapphires. The specific hollow clang of a distant buoy you never heard before. A lonely, beautiful sound that only emphasizes the silence. You are a seasoned traveler now. You know the rhythm. You know the deep, wooded cutting will give way to the sweet orchard, that the old woman on the jetty will be there rocking. You look forward to these waypoints, not with excitement, but with the deep comfort of certainty. You are safe. The route is known. The boat is faithful. And as you drift past the final sleeping cottage before the mist, you realize something. The journey never truly ends. The Somnambula is always drifting somewhere on those quiet, starlit waters. The lockkeeper is always nodding. The child on the swing is always smiling up at the stars. The old woman is always rocking. It is a world that exists in parallel, in perpetual, peaceful motion. An engine of rest that hums just below the surface of the waking world. Your sleep deepens. You pass into the mist. But this time, you are aware, in a distant dreamlike way, that the mist is not just a place on the canal. It is the very substance of deep, dreamless sleep. You are being embraced by it, dissolved into it, becoming part of the quiet flow itself. And when you emerge at dawn, it is not to the quayside of a town, but to a different landing place altogether. It is a small wooden dock leading to a cottage that is both familiar and new. It is the boathouse workshop, but it is also your place. The old mender is not there. It is empty, waiting, peaceful. Somnambula nudges the dock. You understand, without being told, that you can disembark here if you wish, to stay in this timeless, resting place, or you can remain on the boat, to drift on. But for now, you stay. You are both on the boat and in the soft bed. The journey has woven itself into the fabric of your being. You have learned its language. The lap of water is your heartbeat. The rustle of reeds is your breath. The slow wheeling of the stars is the turning of your own calm mind. You will ride the canal boat again tonight, and every night. It is your passage, your ritual, your return to the source of peace. The story does not end, because it is not a story with a conclusion. It is a cycle, a loop of serene water, an eternal, gentle drift under a forgiving moon. The boat is always waiting, the water is always still, and you are always welcome to come aboard, to leave the weight of the world on the mossy bank, and to be carried, safe and out dreamless, into the heart of the quiet, star-dusted night. Continue and write longer. The peace that has settled in your bones is not a passive state, but a living, breathing landscape within you. The first day after the journey feels like walking on ground that still sways, gently, imperceptibly, with the memory of water. The morning light holds the afterglow of the lantern. The steam from your shower carries the cool damp of the tunnel's breath. You move through your routines with a detachment that is not disinterest, but perspective. The frantic pace of the world seems just that, a pace. Why? A pace, not a mandate. You have learned, in your cells, the rhythm of the drift, as for the escape of sleep, but for the quality of consciousness you found on the boat. That state of watchful, wordless receiving. You find yourself seeking its echoes. In the quiet 10 minutes with your afternoon tea, you don't pick up your afternoon tea phone. You simply look out the window. And as you do, the view melts, just at the edges. The street becomes a towpath. The parked cars soften into sleeping, rounded shapes. The rustle of a neighbor's trash bag in the breeze is the whisper of a neighbor's trash bag in the breeze is the whisper of reeds. You have discovered the first secret. The canal is not just a place you visit at night. It is a layer that exists beneath the surface of everything, a watermark on the paper of reality, and you have learned to see it. This new sight deepens as the week unfolds. You are in a stressful meeting, voices rising over a disputed point. Your colleague's face is animated, sharp, and then you blink and you see it, a faint, glistening sheen of moisture on the conference room wall like the damp stones of the lock. The angry words become the churning water of the Weir, loud but ultimately passing, smoothing into silence downstream. You feel your own reaction not tightening, but softening, spreading out like the Somnambula's wake, dissipating. You offer a calm, neutral response. The tension breaks. Not because of a clever argument, but because you introduced the physics of the canal into the room. You lowered the emotional lock. Glide through. At night, the journeys grow richer, more detailed. You are no longer a passive passenger. You begin to sense the boat's intentions. You feel the slight tug on the tiller as she chooses the deeper channel in the water meadows, the almost imperceptible shift in balance as she prepares for a curve. It is a silent partnership. One night, you drift again past the old woman on the jetty. This time, her dog lifts its head as you pass and gives a single soft woof. Not of a single soft alarm, but of recognition. The woman's rocking stills for a moment. She doesn't turn, but she speaks. Her voice like dry reeds rubbing together, yet warm. You're learning the current, she says. To the air, to the night, to you. Then she you, resumes rocking. The words hang in the air. A gift. You carry them with you as you drift into the wooded cutting. Learning the current, it's true. You are learning to feel the subtle flows not just of the water, but of your own life. Which just of the water is to avoid, which channels offer serene passage. The memories of the journey begin to cross-pollinate your waking dreams. You are walking through a supermarket, and the long, gleaming aisle of canned goods transforms into the brick-lined goods. Tunnel, the fluorescent lights becoming the dripping vault. The other shoppers silent, respectful phantoms in the gloom. It is not disorienting. It is comforting. You are in two places at once, and the more peaceful one gently overlays the more frantic one, calming it, slowing it down. You develop a new habit. In moments of transition, between work and home, after a difficult conversation, before a required effort, you close your eyes for just 3 breaths. In the first breath, you are stepping onto the Somnambula, feeling the carpeted plank under your feet. In the second, you are settling into the cushions, the blanket of night air descending. In the third, you feel the gentle, releasing drift as the boat lets go. The bank, it is a miniature voyage, a psychic reset. It works every time. Then, one evening, something new happens. You are already asleep, already adrift on the familiar, starlit water, approaching the moonlit basin with the ruined tower. But tonight, something is different. There is a light in the tower, a soft, flickering orange light from within, casting a warm glow from one of the empty lower windows. The owl is not in its usual arc curiosity. A gentle, dreamlike pull draws you for the first time. You feel an impulse not just to observe, but to investigate. As if sensing your desire, the Somnambula alters her course. She does not continue her circular drift. Instead, she glides directly towards the island, aiming for a crumbling section of the bank. She nudges gently against a flat stone, holding herself steady. The invitation is clear. You disembark. Your feet find cool, damp grass. The air is still and silent. The water is still and silent. Around you, a perfect black mirror holding the shattered reflection of the starry tower. You walk to the tower's entrance, an archway missing its door. Inside, a spiral staircase of worn stone curls upwards into darkness. The flickering light comes from the first floor. You climb. The room is circular. The stone walls bare. In the center, a small fire burns in a hearth you had not seen from the water, its smoke finding its way out through a gap in the wall. Sitting cross-legged before it is the child from the willow tree swing. She is toasting what looks like a marshmallow on a long, thin stick. She looks up as you enter, her face serene in the firelight. "I thought you might come in tonight," she says, her voice clear as a robin's first note. It's colder away from the water. Share the fire. You sit opposite her. No words are needed. You watch the flames dance, their light playing on the ancient stones. This is the heart of the ruin, and it is not empty. It is a sanctuary. After a long, comfortable silence, she speaks again, not looking at you but at the fire. "The boat shows you the outside," she says. "The quiet outside, but the quiet inside. That's in places like this. You can places like this. You can come here anytime. You don't always need the boat to find the dock." She offers you the toasted marshmallow. It tastes of honey and wood smoke and childhood. When you have finished, she nods, satisfied. "You should go back now." She doesn't like to wait too long at the bank. It makes her restless. You descend the stairs. The Somnambula is there, floating patiently. As you step aboard, you look back. The light in the tower window winks out, The journey resumes. This experience marks a shift. The canal is no longer just a linear journey you take. It is a world you are exploring with its own inhabitants, its own secrets. The old mender in the boathouse, you realize, is another keeper of such a secret. The secret of such a secret, repair, of patient making whole. You begin to wonder about the lock keeper. Who is he when he is not tending the gates? Does he have a fire somewhere, a story? Your waking life begins to mirror this exploration. You find yourself drawn to quiet, hidden corners in your own town. A forgotten community garden behind a church. A bench in a cemetery overlooking a pond. The silent, sun-dappled aisle of a library early in the morning. These become your towers. Places where you can disembark from the current of daily life and simply sit by the internal fire. You are, as the child said, learning to find the dock without the boat. The seasons turn in the waking world, and they turn on the canal too. One night, you drift not under a blanket of stars, but through a slow, gentle fall of snow. Fat, lazy flakes spiral down from the black sky, the banks and the roof of the Somnambula in a thin layer of white. The world is hushed, even more profoundly silent. The lantern light catches the falling snow, turning it into a swirling galaxy of gold. You pass the sleeping orchard, and the sleeping orchard, and trees are sketched in charcoal and white, breathtakingly beautiful in their barren rest. The cold air is sharp and clean in your lungs. The sleeping world is not dead, but insulated, dreaming deeper dreams under its snowy quilt. Another night. It is spring. The air is soft and carries the scent of wet earth and blossoms. The willow branches trailing in the water are vivid yellow-green, adorned with catkins. Frogs chorus in a distant pond. A joyous, raucous sound that somehow deepens the peace rather than disrupting it. It is the sound of life returning, and the canal embraces it, carries its echo on the current. You realize the journey is eternal, cyclical. It is not the same story repeated, but the same world experienced through an infinite number of nights, weathers, and phases of your own soul. Some nights you are so tired you barely register the passing bridges, sinking immediately into the deep, wordless drift of the mist. Other nights, you are vividly present, noting every detail, every new bloom on the banks, every shift in the animal kingdom. One evening, in a state of particular weariness, you board the Somnambula and fall asleep almost instantly. You dream you are not on the boat, but in the water, deep below the surface. It is not frightening. It is profoundly quiet and dark, and you are held in a buoyant, weightless embrace. You are the water, and the water is you. You are the stillness itself. You wake feeling as if you have been repaired at a molecular level. The canal is doing its work, not just on your mind, but on your spirit. The sharp edges of old anxieties are worn smooth. Like the stones in the clear tributary, the stagnant ponds of past regrets are flushed clean by the steady, gentle current. You are being reshaped by peace, as a riverbank is shaped by the flow. And then comes the night of the two moons. You are drifting down the long, poplar-lined reach when you look up and see it. A second moon, smaller and paler than the first, hanging just beside it in the sky. The water holds the double reflection. The world is bathed in an eerie, ethereal silver light. The Somnambula sails down the twin paths of double moonlight. It is impossible, magical, and yet it feels utterly right. This is the realm of deepest dream logic, where the rules are made of tranquility and wonder. The old woman on the jetty is standing tonight, looking up at the twin moons, looking up at the twin moons. Her dog beside her, she sees you and points a finger skyward, a look of shared awe on her face. No words, none could contain it, you understand. Then, the canal is not just a path through a sleeping countryside. It is a vein through the dead. Dreaming body of the world itself. The lock keepers, the child, the old woman, the mender, the owl. They are its stewards, its conscious nodes, and you, by your repeated faithful journeys, have become a part of its ecology. You are no longer just a passenger. You are a participant. The final understanding dawns on a night of perfect, crisp autumn. The air smells of wood smoke and decaying leaves. You are approaching the mist, that final veil before dawn, but tonight you are approaching the mist, are wide awake within the dream. As the boat enters the glowing gray wall, you do not feel a dissolution, but an expansion. Inside the mist, you see other lights, not just your lantern. Faint golden halos drifting in the grayness. Other boats, other somnambulas, each carrying a sleeper, each on their own version of the journey. You sense them, these fellow travelers, all being carried on the same vast, peaceful network of waterways that underlies the world of waking. You are not alone. You are part of a silent, countless fleet, all navigating the rivers of rest. Your boat passes close to another. In the gloom, you see a figure, curled under a blanket, their face relaxed in profound peace. There is a communion in this, a deep, wordless solidarity. You are all, separately and together, engaged in the sacred, necessary work of restoration. Your boat emerges from the mist, not at the quayside of the town, but at a place you have never seen. A vast, calm estuary where the sweet water meets the sea. The sky is pale pre-dawn, streaked with rose and peach. The air tastes of salt. Hundreds of boats, all like yours, are drifting silently towards the wide horizon, where the sun is just beginning to crest the edge of the world, turning the water into a sheet of liquid fire. It is a gathering of the fleet, a silent congregation at the altar of mourning. The Somnambula takes her place among them. There is no bump, no landing. The boats simply drift, facing the dawn, held in a collective, awe-struck hush. The first ray of sun touches your face, warmer than ever before, complete. The boundary between the canal and your world has grown so thin it is almost transparent. You carry the estuary inside you, that sense of vast, calm communion. You carry the twin moons. You carry the twin moons. You carry the twin moons. You carry the child's fire. You go about your life, But you are different. People notice a calm about you, a depth. You listen more, you react less. You have the patience of deep water. You understand the current, and every night, without fail, you return. The boat is always waiting. The journey is always new. You have learned its every bend, yet it forever surprises you. You have met its keepers, and they have become your silent companions. You are a citizen of the Night Canal, a dweller in both worlds. The story is long, but it is also infinite. For it is not a story with an end. It is an ongoing voyage, a perpetual, gentle drift through the landscapes of rest and restoration. It is your inheritance, your sanctuary, your secret. Endless river. All you have to do is close your eyes and let go of the bank. The water is waiting. The stars are reflected perfectly in its black surface. The cushions are soft, and the gentle, unhurried, eternal drift is about to begin again. Just breathe. Current knows the way. The final understanding did not arrive with a fanfare, but with the soft, certain click of a well-worn lock gate settling into place. You realized you no longer journeyed to the canal. You carried it. Its waters ran in the thick, quiet spaces between your heartbeats. Its silence was the foundation beneath your daily speech. The Somnambula was no longer a vessel you visited, but a constant, gentle motion within you. The drift of your own spirit through time. The nightly voyages continued, but their nature had transformed. They were no longer escapes, but homecomings. You would close your eyes and be there, not as a traveler on a foreign waterway, but as a leaf on its own tree, a drop in its own river. The landmarks, the Willow child, the stone tower, the old woman's jetty, were not sights to be passed, but rooms in your own vast internal mansion of peace. You could linger in any of them. Some nights, you would simply sit with the old man in the outhouse, watching his needle weave through the net. The silence between you a comfortable, tangible thing. Dusk to dawn, it had become a spherical, navigable world you could step into at any point and wander as you pleased. One evening, in the deepest part of winter, you came to the final integration. You were in your own bed, the world outside, frozen and still. You felt the familiar pull, the gentle yielding as you began to drift. But this time, as the Somnambula materialized beneath you, and the first stone bridge loomed in the starlight, you did not settle into the cushions. You did not settle into the cushion. Stood up. You walked to the stern, where the tiller lay still and unattended, as it always had. You placed your hand upon the smooth, worn wood. It felt like your own hand, familiar and alive. You did not steer, you simply touched it. In that touch, a circuit was completed. You were not on the boat. You were the boat. The lantern at the prow was your own attentive, gentle awareness, casting a warm light on the path ahead. The cushions were your capacity for comfort and rest. The sturdy hull was your resilience, protecting the quiet cargo of your soul. The drift was your trust in the current of life itself. You saw then that every sleeping village you pass was a cluster of your own quieted worries. Every dreaming animal was an instinct soothed into stillness. The star-reflecting water was the deep subconscious mind, perfectly mirroring the cosmos above. The canal was the channel of your own consciousness, flowing through the landscape of your own consciousness, flowing through the landscape of your being. With this realization, the journey unfolded from within. You didn't watch the banks slide by. You were the banks, the water, the stars, the silence. The child in the tower was your own wonder. The old woman on the jetty was your own accumulated wisdom. The lockkeeper was your own ability to raise and lower the gates between one state of being and the next. The voyage reached its culmination not at a dawn quayside, but in a moment of perfect, still unity. The boat, the still unit, the boat, the canal, the night, and you, all distinctions dissolved. There was only peaceful existence, floating in the benevolent dark. And from this unity, you understood the final simple truth. The canal never ends because it is not a place, it is a state. It is a condition of perfect peace that is always available, always flowing just beneath the surface of things. The story of riding the canal boat was merely the key that unlocked the door to your own inherent tranquility. You opened your eyes. Morning light, fresh and new, filled your room. You breathed. The air was sweet. You felt an expanse within you. A quiet so deep it hummed like a tuning fork struck against the universe. You rose and began your day. You rose and began your day. You go to work, talk to friends, face challenges, experience joys, but you would do it all from the deck of your own steadfast vessel, guided by your own inner lantern, carried by the trusted current of your own calm spirit. The journey wasn't over. It had just become the very nature of your life. Thank you for drifting with us. This journey along the quiet waters was never about escape, but about remembrance, a reminder that beneath the noise and haste, there is a current of profound peace that can carry you. It is always there, waiting for you to step aboard, to let go of the bank, and to trust in the gentle, restorative drift of the night. May the memory of the Somnambula's lantern be a light you can kindle in any moment of shadow. May the rhythm of her passage become the rhythm of your own breath when you need calm. And may you always know that you possess within you a silent, starlit waterway, where the only thing required is to surrender, and the only thing required is to surrender and be carried. The story ends here, but your journey does not. Whenever the world feels too sharp, too loud, too heavy, remember, close your eyes, feel the gentle rocking, see the warm gold light on the dark water. You are already aboard. You are already safe. You are already drifting peacefully home. Good night and sweet dreams until the current brings you back to us again.